Hello and welcome to Wargame European Escalation. My name is Hob Gadling and today we'll be playing through the fifth single-player campaign's third mission, Der Kessel.
November 17, 1979. While the NATO offensive has slowed down, Pact reinforcements from Poland are about to turn the situation around. In Saxony, the German 29th Panzerbrigade is surrounded and tries to resist long enough to be rescued by Allied units. Surrounded elements of the Panzerbrigade are entrenched around this island. They are defending outposts that cannot be held very long in front of Soviet attacks. You'll have to reinforce them quickly. But you won't be able to deploy any additional troops as long as you haven't secured a way in for the reinforcements. Remember, all key positions must be in your hands when the retreat order is given. The Leopard 2 is one of your best cards in this battle, with its strong armor and its powerful gun. However, you have to keep them away from A.T.M. The Bo 105P and the AH-1 are anti-tank helicopters able to move quickly from one front to another. Be aware that they only carry a limited number of missiles. You may also rely on Panzer Grenadiers and the Marder 1A1, which are your first line of defense. Infantry is efficient while entrenched in buildings or woods. You will have to defend many places at the same time. Cold blood and speed are the keys to success.
And here we go. The idea is simple. Keep all the conquest points for 20 minutes. First up, we need to send all of our CVs moving. There's no point holding the 2-point areas in the middle when there are better areas closely available. Most of the early moments in this battle are spent relocating troops. I'm trying to build a tough defensive shell around the outmost objective points. I'll leave Panzer Grenadiers to hold the innermost points just in case some of the enemy units bypass our positions. Hopefully none of them will, but just in case someone tries to, it's a good idea to have a little reserve at hand. The defensive positions I have in mind are centered around the main roadways leading towards us. They are two main roads in the south, 3 in the north. I'll try to concentrate my defenses around these main arteries. If the enemy is to make a big push, he must approach along the roadways. That makes them the natural points of defense. We have a huge amount of points available, so there's no point in trying to call units in ones or twos. Just call a lot of tanks and other units in immediately. Since there's a good hillside in Mike, I'll do a rear slope defense there. I'll deploy some of my infantry on the back edge of the hill. This is probably a battle I shouldn't have committed in, but I saw the enemy CV approaching and I can't let it get to Foxtrot. If the enemy can pull out reinforcements from my flank, the whole defensive collapses immediately. Marders should be able to handle all the APCs the Reds are throwing at us, as long as they are not backed up by tanks.
Are you talking to me? Bring it on.
Fortunately for us, the Reds are using obsolete T-34 tanks for some of the offensive pushes. The tanks are so old by now that we can take them out with 20mm autocannon fire. That makes Marders an excellent defense against them. After the first 5 minutes or so are over, most of my reinforcements should be in position, or at least very close to reaching their final positions. I'll try to save up a few points, have a couple of helicopter gunships in reserve. They'll run reserve missions wherever I need extra anti-tank firepower. More light stuff incoming. We have a good amount of income in this mission, since we are holding 2 5-point areas. It's quite important to keep calling in units constantly. The points in reserve are not that useful in this case. If there's nothing else useful to call out, you can always use a couple more helicopter gunships. Also, the BO 105 ATGM hellos are useful since the enemy is on the attack. He will have to move towards our positions, and that's always a good time to try and snipe a couple of vehicles with missiles. If there's a weakness in my defense, it's the anti-air. We only have a few chaparrals available to us, and the autocannon systems are short-ranged, so unless the helicopters make a mistake and blunder close, then most likely they can fire at us unopposed. We got a bit lucky here, but that's fine.
Irgendwelche Kunden für eine Taxitour? Der Himmel gehört uns. Was wollen Sie denn diesmal? Braucht jemand einen Flugzeug? Auf dem Weg zu den Koordinaten. Over.
There's not much to say here, really. After a while, you have gathered so many points and your defensive strong points are so well reinforced that the Soviets would need to push with artillery and tanks. As long as they don't use artillery to take out on our positions, there's not much they can do at all. Just keep shuffling more supplies into the strong points and keep the helicopters moving if necessary.
Yes, sir. Advancing forward.
Sollen wir wen mitnehmen? Draußen wird es langsam gefährlich. Wo sollen wir hin, Kommandant?
That's a bad place to attack with tanks.
Отлично вас слышу.
Checkliste überprüft. Einsatzbereit.
Just spit it out.
Draußen wird es langsam gefährlich.
We're engaged.
Es ist langsam gefährlich. Warum habe ich nur das Gefühl, dass sie gleich unser Leben aufs Spiel setzen werden? Es ist langsam gefährlich. Checkliste überprüft. Einsatzbereit.
T-80s are the first real threat here. Unfortunately, just 3 or 4 T-80s are not enough when you have twice as many M60A3s holding the line. You'd need to keep the distance, make most of the better armor and the powerful gun that T-80 has, and the terrain mostly makes it impossible here. Numbers will beat quality in this fight. Since we have a lot of extra points, let's just call in some Cobra gunships to help in the defense. interestingly, the massed push with bad quality gives us more problems than a couple of high quality vehicles. Now, if the Soviets were to have a couple of T-80s mixed with all the chaff, then we might be in problems. But looks like they are doing either or. Either a couple of high quality vehicles or a lot of low quality ones. Of course, they can always try to push with a lot of high quality vehicles. Still, we have a large number of A.C.M carriers, a couple of Cobra gunships with tow missiles, and 8 or so Pattons at the location, so losing those Cobras was a bit stupid. They shouldn't have flown that close to enemy tanks. I'm not sure what happened there, but what's done is done. The 70mm rockets won't kill T-80s, but they will panic them and drive them away, and that's good enough when I only have to hold for 5 more minutes. Shouldn't have left the M113s behind like that. When the enemy vehicles come over the hillside, the Jägers get to plow into them immediately. That's a tough position once again to take without artillery support.
Advancing to port.
Sky is ours.
At the ready, sir.
Sky is ours.
Выкладывайте.
Kann die Kugel nach oben leicht hören.
3 more minutes to go. This is probably the last Soviet push right here. So I might as well call in more helicopters to help fend it off.
What are your orders, sir? Ready to move, sir. Ждем новых приказаний, сэр.
Fly zone is hot.
Подвести?
Tank ist überprüft.
The Soviets have the right idea this time. Unfortunately for them it's too late, but when you have better quality tanks than your opponent, you want to keep the distance, make the most of your better armor and your better gun.
Fly zone is hot.
since it looks like the attack doesn't have any sort of anti-aircraft capability with it, the helicopters should be able to smash it easily.
Fly zone is hot. Wo sollen wir hin, Kommandant?
And that's the final vehicle exploding.
Auf dem Weg zu den Koordinaten. Wo sollen wir es hinliefern? Wird ausgeführt. Mission, Treibstoff, Ersatzteile, alles was Sie wünschen.
It's interesting to note how small part the tanks are actually contributing to this defense. It's mostly Marders and anti-air units, helicopters, which have been useful in this fight. The tanks are there just to provide more targets that can take some fire, provide some cannon fire. It's the autocannons and missiles which are doing all the work.
Man sagt, ein guter Späher ist einer, den man nicht sieht.
With less than 5 seconds to go, this is it. And that's it, all objectives accomplished, and the kill ratio to our casualties has been rather satisfactory. This is Hob Gadling signing out. Peace.